River Bend Talon on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
And I'm Dennis, and Lydia's dad's Pigpen. How's it going? And with us as well, Mr. Cory Davenport. How you doing, Cory?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's been a week. I can tell you that much.
I've heard you had a pretty good week.
Yeah, good's a word. Yeah, it's one of the many adjectives that could describe the week that it's been.
Well, stuff happened.
Yeah. You don't say. There was a lot of stuff that happened in the last 10 days. It's pretty wild out there in the River Bend now.
It sure is. And that's what we do here. We talk about stuff that's happening, but we talk about fun stuff that's happening.
I mean, I can contribute to that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's fun stuff.
So I seen the post where you're like, hey, I got free time, and I'm thinking, well, let's have some fun then, Cory, on the radio, and take your mind off some of that stuff.
Oh, I would love that.
Okay.
I would greatly love that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what I want to ask you right off the bat, have you ever done a sea shanty down at Morrison's?
Okay, let's put it like this. If anyone's ever heard me sing, you remember it better than I do.
Okay.
Unless it's karaoke night at a weird dumpster bar that no one goes to and I'm out on a whim. Like, if you ever see me in Highland for no reason, just by myself, 11:30 at night, staring everyone, singing Tears for Fears... You're lucky, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what you are at that point. I don't know what I am at that point, but it's happened.
But I figure in the sea shanty scenario, it's like everyone's sitting in booths, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of singing at the table, so it's a little different. So that's why I thought maybe you would participate in that manner with everyone kind of joining in.
See, the thing about it is they're all so joyful, right? Like they've got all this joy going on. They're all happy. I don't want to ruin that,
right?
Like they're all out there in like a sailor's mood, and I'm just like, y'all ever heard of Joy Division? Yeah.
Oh man.
So
you're gonna divide their joy. Nice.
I'm gonna steal that joy.
So that takes place every Thursday night right here in the River Bend down there at Morrison's Irish Pub. And
are they back open yet?
Yeah, well, I heard they were open, but I'm just going that it happens until I hear otherwise. So
good.
I mean, because I figure those folks are probably down there, maybe just a little further up the street, kind of doing it in the streets,
Well, that'd be a good thing to do. I mean, it'd be a river shanty at that point. Yeah,
it's the sea shanty. They got to be doing them.
Doing it in the streets. Now all I got in my head is, why don't we do it in the road?
And from the other side of it, I figure, at least people know now Thursday nights, even if it's not happening tonight, that's a possibility.
I'm gonna check it out.
So we got another guest coming up. I want to mention that J.Christopher, the world's most dangerous one-man band, is going to be on with us. He's got a CD called Simmer Down that's got 300,000, what do you call them?
Downloads?
Plays.
Streams.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
So,
what makes him the most dangerous one-man band?
Well, he's got a knife and a gun.
I was going to ask if he had a knife or a gun, and now it's both. Perfect. Thank you.
And he held down a steady music gig for 26 years.
Oh, that's some mind work, too.
That is.
He knows how to use that gun.
Right next door to Mississippi Nights, the hottest place in town.
Yeah.
So,
did you ever do some 90s shows at Mississippi Nights?
No, I did early 2000 shows
okay.
there. I'm 30. I went to go see Rancid there once with The Unseen. That was a crazy punk show.
So there's like a line that would run down in front of Mississippi Nights to the corner there, and that corner bar is where he played for 26 years.
Oh, that's wild.
Everyone kind of remembers that place too.
I think I know exactly where you're talking about, but I've never been there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So anyways. And
remember when the landing was cool?
No.
You came along too late, man, because like in the late 80s, even in the early 90s, that was a happening spot, man.
I just happened in the late 80s.
Well,
that's true. I bring up the 90s because he's looking for some nude models actually to pose in some 90s
weird facts
things, right?
I have enough nude models. Weirdly enough, like this sounds crazy, but I've got tons of them.
How do you ever have enough nude models for anything?
I don't know. I put out that call and people are like, no, I like this idea. So I'm publishing this poem, this book of poems, and my girlfriend is this really great photographer and graphic designer, and she has this 80s 35 millimeter camera. So since the whole thing's about like digital sexuality in the 90s, we're looking for 90s props, and I thought I had a bunch of them, but I do this thing where I minimize everything I have every so often, so I barely have any 90s stuff. So I'm looking for like 90s toys and furniture and like clocks just to set up weird sets for this abundance of nude models I have.
I think
abundance of nude models. I'm
a writer. I'm a poet.
But that's not a term you hear a lot of people say. I have an abundance of nude models.
So
I'm a character.
Pigpen, like you probably got some 90s stuff though that could hook him up, right? Or did your kids already invade all that stuff?
They've taken some of it, but I don't know.
Actually, you mentioned to J.Christopher in the interview that you didn't get to keep a lot of your stuff from when you were a kid.
Yeah, well, you know, when you live out of a camper, you don't get to keep lot of stuff. You get to keep what fits in the camper. So
all right, so let's run through some stuff that's going on this weekend, and then we'll check in with Jay, and then we'll come back and we're gonna let Cory talk about whatever he wants.
Oh, that's a dangerous proposition you've just given me.
Well, that's what we want. Danger.
Like even like dinosaurs and the reptilian overlords. And
right. It's a dangerous night. We have the world's most dangerous band, and we have Cory fresh off a wonderful week at stuff.
I mean, I don't know if I describe myself as dangerous, but I'm definitely cantankerous.
Cantankerous.
There you go. There you go.
I like it.
Yeah.
So it's a Rush show.
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
Just like Slayer, we make up words. Okay. So there's an open mic hosted down at Raging Cajun every Thursday night. Jamie Dunn and Davin McClendon, I believe is his last name there.
Nice.
And of course the open mic down at Germania, right?
Every Thursday.
And they're doing acoustic solo night down at Imperial Pub in Granite City. I really like that little Imperial Pub, what they're doing down there. Something different every night.
You never know what they're going to have.
So they got Blake Foltz, Joshua Warren, Stroud, and Gary Austin and Justin Brooks all performing.
Nice.
Sarah Schumaki out at the Bakers and Hale and Godfrey.
Nice. Sarah Schumach, they did a great job. The Dead Roses did a great job, and check this out. Okay,
I love them.
Yeah. So the Set Break Sarahs, real quick, they did their show at Trinity River Fest.
Mm-hmm.
Darian Rose sat in with them, but didn't even know who they were.
Oh, wow.
She told me as she was unloading her drums, she goes, I'm sitting in with someone, but I don't know who.
Yeah.
And so good for her, for sitting in with somebody she's never met before.
We're going to have to call her Dangerous Darian Rowe.
Dangerous Darian Rowe.
Or some other Urgerus.
I heard she did a great job sitting in with him, even though none of them knew each other. So that's always awesome.
Wait, I saw that.
Yeah,
she did a great job.
Yeah.
Well, until that second Tequila Sunrise, and then everything was a great job.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna feed you two before my band plays every time.
Yeah. Oh, that's how you get through it sometimes, right?
Only way you're getting through my show.
Okay, let's see. Up in Jerseyville, Adam Gaffney, 6 to 9 at George's local brew up there.
Nice.
Dubtronics at the Stagger Inn in Edwardsville tonight. Dave Mendoza and Jeremy Drake down at Deutz Village Inn at Pontoon Beach. There's a great listening room.
Excellent.
And Mo Pleasure's got a every Thursday gig going on through June at the Lake House at Buffalo Park in Maryville.
More Thursday gigs every week. More and more added.
Well, it's getting hot out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like anything over 75 degrees, so I've been miserable. I just close the curtains and turn off all the lights, turn up the AC, and just rot. I love it.
Yeah.
My free time is day sleeping now, like a vampire.
Nice.
But more and more stuff, and soon, they're going to get the old River Road open, and all those wineries will need help, actually. We need to send some folks up there and help out them folks, like the loading dock that's been out of business now for a month.
Yeah, they hit me up today, and I think they're about to open it very soon.
Nice.
And I'm pretty stoked about that. I mean, Grafton after a flood is always the nicest people you'll meet. Yeah, you just go up there and everyone's like, we're just helping out because the flood made everything bad. And I'm like, yes, let's drink this wine.
Get away from some ugliness for a while.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, going on Friday night at Baker's and Hale and Godfrey, RiverTown out there. They got a Paper Slip Theater down at Jacoby's Art Center. What a great job Josh is doing down there. Josh Grassley.
Oh, yeah.
Mum's the Word, a comedy from 8 to 10. Matt Taul doing a Bigelos Bistro in Edwardsville as usual on Friday night. Mila Duffey going to be at Morrison's Irish Pub. Hookie down at Chez, Maryland in Alton. Brad and Jerry at the franchise in Wood River.
Nice.
You want to take over?
Very nice. Why, sure, I'll take over.
You talk about Doc Holliday.
We got Doc Holliday at 9:30 at the Pump House. Cam Barton at the Refinery Bar in Wood River.
That used to be like a Farm Fresh.
I've never been to the Refinery Bar.
It's
so
like
that's the old Farm Fresh on the same street.
Wait, I thought that was like some sort of duck bar?
It was a bar for a minute, but now they've changed it to this bar.
Okay.
Refinery, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dustin Coleman every Friday night, 7 p.m. up at the High Flyers Grill in Bethalto.
Mm-hmm.
Flip the Frog will be at Doc Holliday's in Cottage Hills.
Right on.
Scott and Michelle and Worth the Fight at Imperial Pub. So there you go. That's a Jimmy G thing going on.
That is. That's interesting. Those two together.
Yeah, it seems like a strange combination. I'm gonna go ahead and say.
I like them strange combinations. They get me in all kinds of trouble.
It's quite the cocktail you're serving there,
That's
sir. Right. Fluffy Kittens. Okay, I like the name there.
Kittens with a Z.
Yeah, Kittens. Fluffy Kittens at Eddie's in Granite City.
I hope they're death metal.
Right.
I hope so,
Gotta
too.
be something rocking down there.
4 and 20 acoustic at the Atomic Cowboy over in St. Louis.
It's like the Mondin Band and Rogers and Neen House combined there.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I think you might even throw Pat Liston in there on that every now and again. I don't know. Jonathan Baker, 5 p.m. at Aries Winery.
Right.
Nick Sturgis.
Sturgis? I'm going with that. I like hearing your pronunciation.
I'm going to go with Sturgis.
Sturgis.
Nick Sturgis. 7 to 10 p.m. at George's Local Brew in Jerseyville, Illinois. Lanny and Julie, 6 to 9 at Edison's Entertainment Complex, which, man, we were talking about that with the guys from Hayes Bond last week. How much fun that place is.
Right.
Stone
Sugar.
You
ever play laser tag, Corey?
Okay, that's a dark story.
That's good.
I'm not supposed to play laser tag anymore. Not since the incident.
Oh, man.
Same thing with bumper boats.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so where were we? I forgot.
Stone Sugar Shakedown.
Yeah, Stone Sugar Shakedown. They're going to be coming in and talking to us here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
They are going out on tour. Just announced their whole big tour, but they're going to be at Stagger Inn again this Friday night.
10 p.m.
There you go, 10 p.m.
Corey Ebbets at Big Daddy's in Edwardsville at 6:30 Saturday. Larry Gwaltney Band, 7 p.m. at the Lake House in Buffalo Park in Maryville. And Pat Liston's up in Highland at L. Flanagan's. And we always talk about how lucky we are here in the Riverbend that, we can catch Pat Liston any weekend.
Yeah.
There's some Mama's Pride's band that they're that'd be really cool. But
why doesn't Danny
Liston? It's just a normal thing for us.
I want to see Danny Liston come to the Brown Bag Bistro. How come that isn't happening?
I don't know, man. You need to talk to him. He's your buddy.
I'm going to, man.
All right. So let's go over some of this Saturday, and we'll take a break. We'll check in with J.Christopher, and then we'll come back and let Cory Davenport say whatever he wants.
You are. What's wrong with you? Like real talk. What? You're really just gonna let me go on?
Oh yeah. Well, see, I know one thing Cory knows, and that's radio, because he was part of the radio department at WLCA, so he's gonna stay within FCC standard.
Oh yeah, no, that's the least of your worries. Yeah, so I'm not gonna drop any bombs of any sort.
And he says cool things, so why not, right?
Oh, you'll find out the answer to that question later.
Yeah, that's good. That's what we want. Okay, so our favorite person, Cory may not know about Jody Hopper. Have you heard the legend of Jody Hopper?
I'm always down for legends.
Okay, so Jody Hopper is this lady that, when we were kids growing up, had this music store behind her house. Now, Pigpen was her very first customer.
She didn't even have the store behind her house. It was in her basement.
Yeah.
About 12 guitars hanging on the wall.
He walks by and sees a sign. The guy's putting the sign up, her husband, right?
And it didn't even say music. It said Don's Hopper's Hobby.
Right.
But it was shaped like a guitar. I'm like, whoa, you got guitars in there?
Were you about 12?
Yeah, something like that.
So he walks in there, and what happened?
I put $5 down on a guitar. Not knowing me, they let me walk out with it, promising to pay $5 a week, which was my lunch money, until it was paid off.
Right.
So my lunch money bought my first guitar. Thanks, Mom.
Right. Now, many musicians followed Pigpen into the same store and got the same exact deal. Some of them never came back and paid her. Some of them always did come back and pay her, but it never stopped her from providing that to every child that walked through those doors.
Well, that's a good legend.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
I could bump into a few friends at school, high school, whatever, and we'd be like, we're going to get a band. Oh, I got some drums. Well, I'd go to Jody's and be like, Jody, I'm trying to start a band. I need some gear. What do you need, honey? A guitar and a bass and a guitar amp and a bass amp and a microphone and a mic cord, and I just sing through the guitar amp. How much money you got? $23.50. She'd be like, okay, take this guitar and this bass, and she'd send me on my way, and with them, I'd have to pay so much a week till it was paid off or whatever. But anytime I wanted to start a band, done.
Right. And some of us never paid off that bill because as soon as we did, we had something else we were paying off. You know what I mean?
For years.
Yeah, no, like that sounds incredible.
It is absolutely incredible.
We need more stuff like that.
It was literally the only credit I had in my life until I was over 30 years old and married.
I can relate to that. I too have no credit except for to very nice people who have very good front games.
Right. Anyways, I'd say, about 10 years or so ago now, she finally closed the doors and stopped doing it, because she's gotten older. But every once in a while, she'll open up and, because she's got stuff left and just kind of have a sale.
Interesting.
So, last weekend she scheduled the sale and then realized everybody was at Trinity River Fest. And a lot of people that were out there were like, oh, Jody, you should have done this on a different day. And we were all like, well, that's kind of cool because it's Mother's Day weekend. So she's like our mom,
Right.
And but none of us could make it, so she's going to do it again this weekend.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
I'm still freelancing. I might just come out and write a little story about that. I want to hear more about this legend.
Well, we're planning on filming some of it. Beautiful. So maybe we could collaborate and add your story to the video.
Oh, I'd be down.
See what we come up with. She's on Mayfield in Alton.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
I'll check that out.
My goal is to be the last person there on Saturday and I'll buy anything just so I can buy the first thing and the last thing ever in the store.
the Alpha and the Omega.
Hey, I'm not trying to be all that. Maybe I am. I don't know.
All right, so Bottle and Barrel on Saturday night. They got Porch Fire with Justice and the Experience at 8
I'm
p.m.
real interested in seeing both of those. I've never got to see Justice and the Experience yet, and Porch Fire is a band they're not from the area, but I've been interested in seeing them because they play a lot of the festivals around the state.
So then Wild Geese down at Morrison's Irish Pub on Saturday. Faces by Jason Garrigus. That's the opening at Germania Brew Haus, and they're going to have Andrew Dahl, I guess is how you say his name. Might be Dali. 7 p.m. down there.
Dalai Lama.
Skylark Brothers at Chez Marilyn's in Alton. Jonathan Baker are going to do 12 p.m. and then Matt Taul from 5 to 8 at the Brown Bag Bistro as they're firing things up down. They're doing 2 shows on Saturday now.
Huh.
So that's pretty cool.
All right.
Have you been down at the Brown Bag Bistro?
I've been there a few times. I have a lot of friends that work there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good food?
Yeah, I've enjoyed everything I had there.
Cool. Because, I was in the old neighborhood there pretty much for you, so I could see you, bopping down.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, I live right across from the Simmons firm, so I'm always bopping around Broadway.
Yeah. Darius Spangler, 7 p.m. at the Old Bakery Brewery in Alton. Nightlife at Doc Holiday's and Cottage Chills. Sit Down and Get Down doing the 5 p.m. at the Pump House. Walk On at 9 p.m. Face Journey, a Southern Gospel concert at the Roxanna Nazarene Theater, 7 p.m. Masterminds at 9:30 at Eddie's in Granite City. And then Martin Bear's 50 Years of Jethro Tull Celebration, 8 p.m. at the Wiley Theater in Edwardsville. I happen to have tickets right here for that.
Oh, yeah,
I got 4 tickets. So we have a phone number, 465-1570, or just hit us up anyway.
Looks like the lines are all busy.
If you want to hit us up on social media, wherever you're paying attention. Oh, yeah, the lines are freaking out. Look at that. So don't even try to call us. Just send us a message. I was going to say, all the lines look like they're blinking right now, so. All right. Well, we could just go, all of us.
Yeah, I mean, wait, tomorrow night?
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
Oh, wait a minute. I think you're right. It's Friday.
I was going to say.
No, we moved into Saturday.
Oh, okay, you're right. Saturday.
Well, maybe.
We moved into Saturday.
You're right. You're right. Saturday. So, anyways, there's some. It's a Jethro Tull celebration. We'll find somebody to give
Ian Anderson, baby.
You're right, though. The phones are flipping, dude.
I wonder why.
Well, when you get Cory Davenport on the radio.
Oh no, they're probably all my haters. My haters are ringing in abundance. In abundance.
When they bring up reptilians on Coast to Coast, and they're always like, "Oh wait, man, the phone line's freaking out all of a sudden." I think that's happening.
They're all reptilians. The phone lines are all reptilians. Everyone who's calling, I'm officially accusing you of being a reptilian.
Wow.
So we're not sure what's going on.
There it is.
A lot of reptile slinging.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's wrap up Saturday up at Aries Winery. They've been doing it on the weekends up there still. Bag Fly Free and Margaret Bianchetta. Iron Sun, Storm Razor, Reclamation, and Cycle of Ruin. See?
Reclamation. I like it.
8 p.m. at Imperial Pub down in Granite. Now, we just talked about Acoustic Night 2 nights ago. That's a metal night right there.
Oh, that sounds... Yeah, come on, man.
That's got to be.
The Reclamation is funny. That's good.
Yeah, Imperial Pub's cool. They're doing some cool stuff down there. How about the big blues festival going on at Grafton Winery this weekend? You got Joe Metzger Band, Ivis John Band, NGK.
Big George will be our guest next week.
Yeah.
Just talked to him today.
And Don Turlington and Billy Peak all at the Grafton Winery starting at 11. And then, the Tanglefoot's probably canceled at the loading dock. We know that, right?
Well,
I just like to bring it up, though, so people don't forget. We're going to have to help these folks out here in a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's why I leave it on there. John Messinelli, Mike Albers, and Troy Brenningmeyer at DeCamp Station up in Staunton. Harvard Drive at the Back Bar in Edwardsville. Mondin Band at the Stagger Inn on Saturday. Flip the Frog at the Oasis in Carrollton. Flipside at Hooches in 16 in Granite City. Hey, David Allen Coe and the Moonshine.
Look out, man.
What?
The ride, baby.
Yeah, David Allen Coe is in town this weekend at the Hillbilly Ranch in Jerseyville.
Oh, man.
He's got to be like 80.
Oh, man,
yeah. He's as old as the country music itself. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
David Allen Coe. You got to admit, though, The Ride, that's a great song.
It is.
That is a great song.
All right, so number 4 combo celebrates Armed Forces Day at the Sunset Bar in Godfrey.
I finally got to see those guys. They played at Trinity River Fest. Fabulous. Those guys can do it, man.
And I want to mention that Steve Scorfina's playing this weekend. He hit me up and wanted to make sure because, they've been enjoying the podcast.
That guy can play. Right? You want to talk about people who can play.
Pavlov's Dog guitarist, Ario Speedwagon guitarist, and his new thing's Chrome and Steel, and they're going to be at the Church Bar in St. Louis, and
excellent.
Wanted to help him out by mentioning that, and they're going to be playing in Granite City soon, so we're going to have to talk about that real soon. They're doing it's like a Lou Fest, Lou Legends or something like that.
Cool. Well, it's that one. I think it's the one he said he was going to bring back the Trip set,
right?
And
we
talked about that.
A whole bunch of St. Louis legends going to be right here in Granite City, so that's going to be cool. All right, Hookie up at Wild Pickens in Chesterfield. I love taking that drive up there.
Yep,
that's a good one. Liquid Doll.
I love that name.
Yeah, 9 p.m. at the Lake House at Buffalo Park in Maryville. Mike Albers Trio 7 to 10 at DeCamp Station. I mentioned that one earlier. The Shirts 8 p.m. at the Cabin at Judy Creek in Glen Carbon. We got a benefit to talk about on Sunday for Sherry Rowland's Tuttle. We'll get to that after we check in with J.Christopher. It's time to get to him here, man.
Oh, yeah.
And Cory, you're working so hard over there.
What do you mean I'm working so hard?
That's what I'm saying. I'm glad you're relaxed.
Oh, I'm chill.
And just, having a good time with us.
I'm always chill.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. After your week, I want you to, take in the zen.
Yeah.
Remember the old days of radio and where your love for media started.
Oh, man, my love for media. That's a cursed thing right there.
Speaking of media, you're going to be doing some media tomorrow.
I'm going to be on Live on the River Bend.
Right.
Which is a podcast broadcasted out of Lighthouse Sounds.
Right.
Or Lighthouse Studios. Lighthouse Sound.
Lighthouse Sound Studios.
Yeah, Lighthouse Sound Studios. I'm sorry. I botched that. And they're all my friends, too.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I love those guys. But yeah, I'm going to be down there. And that one, there's no FCC rules.
Right.
Yeah, so... It's definitely going to be unleashed. It's going to be too hot for TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of their style, too, isn't it?
They like to... Oh, no, I'll keep my shirt on, but I won't keep my mouth shut. No, it's... they're fun. They're an interesting bunch of people, and I love it.
Yeah. And,
I love what they do.
Don't they stream that over Facebook or something like that?
They do. And they do a lot of different stuff, so... I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, so Live on the River Bend tomorrow. Just search for that on Facebook, and you'll find Cory on there. And boy, he's going to have a.
I've been on there before. We had a good night. Lots of Hennessy.
I'm saying that's a perfect platform to end your week on.
It really, truly is.
Yeah.
Like it's that's the best way to spend a Friday night.
We're just here to chill you down.
Yeah.
So that you can fire it all back up good and strong tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.
Of course.
I'm going to take care of you, buddy, man. We really appreciate all you do around the River Bend. And, man, your heart is the biggest. It is so big.
No, it's only because I'm a giant man.
No, it's also a medical problem. I talked to the doctor. Your heart's so big. Seriously,
that explains a lot of things.
All right, time to check in with J.Christopher. We're not going to have too much time. We don't get started here real quick.
We get to it.
Yeah, he's playing May 31st in Montrose, Illinois, and then June 7th at the Canton Inn in Hillsborough. Also July 15th at the Prairie Inn in Dorsey. J.Christopher coming up next here on Riverbend Talent, brought to you by Halpin Music Company, Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance Company.
Rugged.
And now more Riverbend Talent
with Dennis Laird and Pig Pen.
Back with more on Riverbend Talent, brought to you by Halpin Music Company. Make sure you stop in Halpin Music and thank them for allowing us to do this program, and it allows us to bring in more cool guests. Also, Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance, and we've got a pretty cool guest in the studio tonight, babe, Kent.
Yeah, we've got the world's most dangerous one-man band. Look at J.Christopher's in the studio with us. How you doing, Jay?
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Happy to have you here, man. See you playing. Is there ever a time you're not playing? Like every week I see you've got a gig either with Mondin Band or you've got a gig as the one-man, world's most dangerous one-man band.
Right.
You're a busy man.
I play a lot. I have two modes. I'm either working or looking for work.
Yeah.
Right? And you've been doing it for a long time now.
A long time.
So you going back, when did you get your first guitar? How long ago was the first guitar put in your hands?
Well, I remember this is the first guitar that I actually owned. My dad bought for me, and it was a 1961 Les Paul.
Wow.
And he gave it to me on my birthday, February 9th, 1964.
Wow.
Nice.
Which was a monumental day, probably before you guys' time, but it was a Sunday. And that was the first time the Beatles played on Ed Sullivan.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
And you happened to have a Les Paul in your hands when you were watching.
I did. And it wasn't.
That was exciting.
It wasn't like the Beatles guitars, so I wasn't that impressed with it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Took me a little bit of time to warm up to it, but that's kids.
Well,
do you still have that guitar?
I do have that guitar.
Oh, my God.
So was your dad a musician then?
My dad, he wanted to be a musician. He was a TV repairman.
Okay.
And he graduated from Arala School of Mines, I believe, in 1951, and came in on the original TV
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So
Nice.
when TV just started coming up, he was doing it. So luckily that worked out to my advantage, because people would also bring other equipment in for him to work on.
Nice.
And I would meet musicians that brought their amplifiers in. And he would say to them, they would say, "What do I owe you, Jim?" And he would say, "Well, just give my son a music lesson."
Oh,
And I had
okay.
people bringing guitars over and playing for me a lot.
Wow. That's pretty handy way to learn
It
right
was
there.
a pretty good way to learn.
Starting on a Les Paul is pretty cool, too.
Starting on a Les Paul.
Yeah, and I guess you probably tinkered then with electronics along the way, if your dad did.
Well, I held the flashlight a lot.
Oh, okay. yeah.
Nice.
He's one of them dads. Let me show you how this
Let me
is
show you how to do it. Yeah, get that light over here.
That's cool, man. But yeah, what a great start right there.
It was.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so now you graduated in 71.
High school, 71.
And went to college.
Straight into college. Keep off the draft.
And until what, 73?
About 73. Then I took off on the road, started playing on the road in road bands.
Man, and you were on the road all the way up to 79.
Stayed on the road till 79, yeah.
That is a long time to live the road lifestyle and live through it.
Talk about getting your feet wet.
Yeah, they were soaked.
Yeah.
I bet. So you had some pretty steady work going on there, though.
I worked a lot, had good agents, worked with a lot of good agents. They would pick up the band and they would send us out, and we'd say, "Can we go home?" And they go, "One more job, 200 miles farther." And can we go home next week? They said, "We'll just do one more job, 200 miles farther." Usually they'd get us out so far that we couldn't come back. So
I know there's
by the time you're all the way out to the West Coast, you can't just come home.
Can't
You gotta
come back.
work your way back home. There's a lot of gigs between here and there.
absolutely.
So all the young guys are going, okay, so how do you get that kind of break? You know what I mean? To jump into something like that. Did it just kind of fall to you, or do you remember?
There was a whole lot more. It's not very good English there, but there were more places to play.
Oh, okay.
Back then, there were 6 nights a week clubs. Lots of clubs went 6 nights a week. Some went 7 nights a week.
Okay.
And people were supporting music more back then. I would think they would go out more often.
So did a scout see you or something like that, or?
I don't know how. We were working for an agent out of Phoenix named. It'll come to me.
Yeah.
He put us in, started putting us into the Playboy clubs, and then we got known as having that St. Louis sound.
Oh, there you go.
And people started requesting us to come.
What is the St. Louis sound for us St. Louisans?
I don't know. I think it's
Chuck Berry, maybe?
I think it's danceable.
Okay.
Danceable. We were really danceable, you know, especially the Imperial dancers and stuff like that, which
Okay.
was popular back then.
Yeah. So there you go, off and running. Then
Off and running.
back here. So back home, though.
And, and then I wound up spending, a lot of people knock disco. I love disco. Mm-hmm. Of course, all the disco years I spent doing the bump with Playboy bunnies.
Yeah.
I bet you do love disco, don't you?
It was really sad when that job ended.
But that technology that your dad brought to the table would come back to you with a form of MIDI music, which was kind of new when you were coming back here, and you were kind of in the forefront of that, right?
Well, I had been playing in a band that we had been using a Linn drum. This is in the early 80s, 82, 83. And the Linn drum was just calling me to program it. And then, bouncing in and out of bands. After I graduated from college, I took a job playing bass. And I played bass on the road for about 6 years. And then I came back and started putting different bands together, and I wound up to where the equipment was coming around to where you could do a one-man act and sound like a band, and I just jumped on it with hands and feet.
It's okay to talk about drummers on this show. We've brought them up in the past, and one of the cures we found that a lot of the musicians are using is they just train their kids to be their next drummer.
I've seen a lot of that.
Right, yeah. So
I've trained a lot of drummers in my life.
I just, to ease you a little bit, we've already talked about the drummer problem. But I bring that up because that's what kind of led you into, trying to get a consistent guy to show up gets difficult sometimes, so you gotta write it yourself.
And coming off of the playing the disco, when I go back to that, drummers just didn't understand it wasn't all rolls and double kick drums and stuff like that. It's a backbeat.
Something to dance to.
Gets the girls up in front of you, and that's why I'm in the business.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So after the disco era and all the time on the road and playing, doing the bump with the bunnies and all that, 79, you roll back to town, but you end up back in college.
Yeah, I went back to college because I had never had formal training in music, so I went to SIU and got my degree in music. And that was for me.
And when you walked into that guitar class, tell us some of the people that were sitting in that class with you.
There were a couple good guitar players in the class, like Rick Hayden and Billy Barnett and John Mondin and
that guy,
Daryl Harbison, John Wise.
Yeah, so you were in good company there.
I was in good company. We had a lot of fun in that class.
Yeah,
I bet you did.
And a great teacher. I have to say, Dave Engelke. All these guys studied with Dave Engelke, and he was he's a thread that runs through.
Nice.
Yeah, and John talked about it when we had him on, just the amazing amount of talent from this area.
Yeah.
Really and that continues. I mean, the really young guys are still coming and they're still playing, and I don't think people realize until you get away from this area sometimes that how special our little scene is, really.
It really is.
Just having, generations of bands now, that, like I said, these are kids and grandkids that are playing with Grandpa now, you know. Yeah. So
see, that's awesome. Graham Pagano,
Graham and Sam,
Graham and Sam all the time. It's like he's playing with his grandson. That's
so
beautiful,
cool. And loving it.
Yeah. And he's his grandson is a built rock star. He's ready. He's ready for it.
He is. Pass Graham right up.
And Sam's just a nice kid too. So that's always good. So after the SIU experience and getting to hang out with John Mondin and those guys out there, 88 you launched the one-man band thing.
One-man band. It worked out really good for me. I got the gear, came along, I was able to program, I was able to get the gigs were coming in good, the money came up, everything was just working out for me. I played all over the country, traveled, still done some traveling, but I was basically the number one guy at a place on the landing, Laclede's Landing, called Sundecker's.
Wow.
And I was there for 26 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
26-year gig. That is a long time to hold a house gig.
What got you interested in doing the one-man band thing? Were there a lot of guys doing that, or was that just something you thought, hey, no one's doing this, I think I will?
There were people that were playing box guitars doing it, and I saw I could get in with the equipment and actually make it sound like a dance band.
Oh, okay.
And I jumped on the dance band aspect of it. And basically the reason I did it was just to pay the bills.
Right. That and you couldn't get a drummer to show up. Right? No, everyone knows. I mean, come on.
If you could go back to the 60s, Arthur Brown had the same problem. So he bought a Bentley drum machine.
Sometimes it gets so bad that you end up becoming a bass player just to fill some... Oh, yeah, you did that too, didn't you?
I did that too. I did that too.
This story's familiar.
It's almost like I've heard this one before, right?
I guess I'm kind of lucky because I have never had a day job.
Right.
Yeah.
Never had a day job. Never punched a clock.
Nice.
Never had a W-2 form.
Yeah.
So.
You're living the dream, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
in a van down by the river.
It's still a dream, man.
It's my dream, man.
Oh man! So you had this idea to jump on the one-man band thing. The technology was at your hands, and the knowledge and the skill to do it. So you jumped into the one-man band thing. Scored this 26-year gig at Sundecker's.
That's amazing.
That was right by Mississippi Nights.
Right next door.
Yep. So you probably got to meet a few folks who would stagger across the way.
You'd meet a lot of different people, down on the landing. A lot of tourists.
Is that the little bar that's on the corner that the line would stretch
around
from Mississippi
Absolutely,
Nights? Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
And they, there was a $1 million business. They made a lot of money there, and it just worked out for me. The people that would be at Mississippi Nights would either stop in and eat before the show or come in after the show. Built-in crowds. I played after every baseball game for years. That's 81 dates of just through the summer. Pick and choose my dates at the job. Sundeckers was a wonderful place.
And the landing was the place to be for the longest time, right?
Was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the place to have a gig. We've talked on our show in the past about at that era, Mississippi Nights being the pinnacle gig. If you got your band to play Mississippi Nights, you were
band,
something. Yeah.
If you get a local band in,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But there were some great acts that went through Mississippi Nights, and it was always wonderful going over and seeing them.
I saw Willie Nelson play there.
Wow, I didn't see that.
And it was an amazing show, but it was kind of like you said. It's Willie Nelson at Mississippi Nights. So I'd walk down front, go, wow, that's Willie Nelson. But I'd always stagger to the back because that's where the sound was at.
Yeah.
At the very back, it just sounded so perfect.
So good. Right in the doorway, it just sounded great. Yeah.
Yeah, but what an amazing place that was, and to you kind of got to really live in the high life of the landing, because through the 80s, through the late 80s and early 90s, that place was just happening.
Jumping. It was really jumping.
Yeah.
And I liked walking over to Mississippi Nights because I'd get to see the different kinds of acts. I wouldn't know what it was. One night I walked in, it was Guar.
Yeah.
And they've got paper mache outfits on.
How can I explain that to people?
Let me try.
There's no telling what you saw.
I'd see a huge variety of bands. Yeah, because a bluegrass band to be in there the next night.
You would have Eric Johnson one night and Beau Soleil the next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I used to love going and seeing Beau Soleil there, man. It was
Nice.
so cool. So cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the gig that the touring bands would have right before they made it into the arenas.
Right.
A lot of times you'd see them there, and then the next
Stevie
time
Ray,
through,
the Police.
Yeah. I saw Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Red
play
Hot
there.
Chili
Yeah.
Peppers.
Right.
I was on the road and in West Virginia playing a road band, and we saw a thing that said Red Hot Chili Peppers. This was early 80s, and it was the sock tour.
Oh, yeah.
We did not know. When we walked in, we did not know.
Only way you could have been more surprised was at a Gigi Allen concert.
I was shocked. I'm sure West Virginia was shocked.
So for those that
They all
don't
learned
know,
about the helicopter.
for those that don't know, we're talking about the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and each member only wearing one sock, and you can use your imagination where the sock was, right?
Yep. And they would walk on stage doing a dance they called the helicopter. So
Yeah,
whatever
so
you call it, what you
There
want.
you go.
There you
Now
go.
you know.
Yep,
Sometimes
I
you
saw
don't want to
West
know.
Virginia.
But now you know.
Things you do on your night off.
Right.
Oh, man.
I imagine some of them guys trickled into the bar there and had a drink every once in a while.
At
too.
Sundeckers, we
Yeah.
saw a lot of people.
Yeah.
They would come. Well, at Sundeckers, you also get the people who were playing over at the Dome and
Right.
stuff. We'd meet all the motocross guys. We'd meet the wrestlers. One night, well, I can tell this is a true story. The one weekend, what was his name?
Cowboy Bob.
One weekend, Stan Kroenke's sitting at the bar at the end of the bar, and then the next weekend is the boxer that
Leon Spinks.
Leon Spinks is sitting at the end of the bar, same seat.
Wow.
I'm going, wow,
What a crazy world.
crazy world I work at.
There was, from what I remember, a hotel not too far from the corner of the landing where a lot of those guys stayed
Across
when
the
they're in
street
town.
was
Right
Embassy
across the
Suites.
street.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, right across the street from
And what I found too is that a lot of the tour managers that worked with the really big gigs, the really big artists, would still billet their bands down there because they were used to working at Mississippi Nights. They knew this is where it was, and you could move around. So I'd meet people like Bad Company.
Yeah.
When McCartney played in town. He kept his band at Mississippi Nights.
Nice.
The buses all started on. I didn't see him.
Yeah.
He had other things going on. He had other things going on.
But to find a vegetarian restaurant.
So you now have an album that you have handed to us.
Yep.
This is your most current album.
Independent release, yeah.
Independent release, and it is called Simmer Down. I have not got to hear this album yet. I've heard some of your music, but I have not heard any of this yet. I'm looking forward to it. I'm real interested, though, in discussing a little bit about the production of this album and the Digital Q production.
I recorded this at a studio in south of Springfield, Illinois, called Digital Q Productions with my producer Bill Prose, and we were working on projects in the studio. And whenever they were done, we would just sit around and play with the gear, and that allowed us both to stretch out. And I just wrote and produced the album right there on the spot. So,
and now this album covers many genres.
It's a multi-genre album. It starts off with a poppy song, and then goes to an alternative song, to a country song, to a reggae tune. Trying to remember.
Temporary
Lover's a funk song.
Try a Little Harder.
That's a song I wrote that had to do with the Ferguson riots and stuff.
Oh, all right, okay.
We got to work a little harder. We try a little harder to work together. We got to work together to get things done.
Nice.
Human Condition.
Wrote that with Ellen Martinez.
And same with the last song, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of genres being covered there, and because of the way that you were doing it, where it was sort of in between projects up at the Digital Q Productions up there, there wasn't a okay, we've got to get this album done by this day, or even a hey, we're making an album here. It was more like we're just playing in the studio.
We're just playing with the toys
and writing some songs.
Yep.
And now this is one of the things I'd never heard of Digital Q Productions until tonight when we started talking earlier. It's in Wagner, Illinois.
It's in Wagner, Illinois. It's in the schoolhouse in Wagner. They do plays, and they have funding from Steven Spielberg.
Oh, that is an interesting fact about our state that a lot of people don't know.
Steven Spielberg's wife is from Wagner, Illinois.
There you go.
And she was part of the troupe, I guess you'd call it, there at the schoolhouse plays, and
nice.
So they've continued to fund it.
So now we know who to complain to about all the new Star Wars movies. And wait a minute, no, okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic.
I haven't ever seen them. I don't know.
I actually haven't either. I'm just trying to make a joke, man. I guess I should know what I'm talking about if I'm going to make jokes.
I don't know if Steven ever goes to Wagner. I'll put it that way. It's only 2 blocks.
Right. There's one stop sign, and that's the whole town.
I don't think there's a stop sign.
So you got to release this back in 2013 and experience the new age of the digital warehouse, right?
The digital warehouse,
right? Which is a big difference from the early days when you shopped your cassette around, right? Right, through the mail.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And we've talked about that on here. So, but one of the big things is streaming, and congratulations, 300,000 plus streams on Spotify.
Spotify.
That's amazing.
It's, I don't know who's listening to it, but somebody is.
Yeah. We've had some luck from Africa, right?
I had, they were listening to the song Africa, in Africa, I was told, and there was some interest in it in Belize for a while. I tell everybody that as a songwriter, I've been turned down by some really famous people.
Yeah.
So I don't know who exactly is listening to it.
Yeah.
Nobody's buying it.
Right.
Streaming's rough.
Yeah, it is.
Streaming's rough. You get 0.0067 cents for each stream. So.
Yeah, a big
dozens
difference.
of dollars.
Yeah,
dozens of dollars.
So put this into perspective, folks. Back in the 70s, right? If you got played 300,000 times on Chez, right?
Yeah.
You'd be set for life, right?
You
made a lot of money.
Gold record was 100,000.
Right. So So there you go, folks. I mean, now 300,000, and you get less than a.
And you're living in a van down by the river.
Big change, though. Definitely in the industry.
Right here in the river bend.
and really, it all happened pretty quick there.
It did, yeah.
Right toward the 2001 era, where albums and that kind of started turning into digital files, and then it's what we have now. Everyone has a better opportunity as far as getting their stuff out worldwide,
Right.
but it's so saturated because everyone has that opportunity.
Well, you can't keep up anymore. When I was working as a DJ, it was impossible to stay on top of the stuff because it would just spit out so fast.
Yeah.
You didn't know what they were wanting. You didn't know what it sounded like, so you put it on and thinking, well, I hope this is going to work. And then you realize, well, this isn't working. You can't dance to this. And
Move on to the next record.
Fade it down.
We call this the crossover. Fade one down, fade one up.
Here's one I know.
Been saving it to go after one I didn't know.
It's not what song you're playing, it's what song you're following.
Important. I was always told when I first got in bands and started doing gigs, you only worry about your first song and your last song. Everything else is just filler. But that first song, you got to get their attention.
Get their attention.
And they're going to go home remembering the last song, so don't blow it. I don't know if that's true, but I live and die by that. Now, this album, Simmer Down, it is available on all the regular sites, iTunes and Amazon, Spotify. Obviously, if they want to be one of the 300,000+ people that stream it. And now, if anybody wants to get a hold of you personally to book J.Christopher, the world's most dangerous one-man band, you have Facebook and a website both?
Facebook and a website both, yeah.
So Facebook, they just do put in J.Christopher?
J.Christopher, the world's most dangerous one-man band.
Okay. Now, for those listening in, that's J, the letter J, period, Christopher, like you'd normally spell Christopher, right?
Yeah.
And then for the website, that's -omb.com, right?
Yeah, OMB, one-man band.
So that is www.jchristopher-omb for one-man band.com. .com.
So you want to use the letter J for J, right?
Yeah, when I was born, we were so poor we couldn't buy a vowel.
I wanted to talk to you real quick about a little place you play from time to time in St. Louis, Joe's Cafe, which you call a listening room, which for us musicians brightens our ears, because a listening room is a little bit different than being the background noise in a bar and grill, right? And tell us about Joe's Cafe.
Well, I'm playing with the Mondin Band acoustic trio. John Mondin is the leader of the band, and we're playing this Thursday, a week from tonight, or whenever this airs. And it's Joe's Cafe is over by Wash U, by the Loop. You can look it up. It's Joe Cafe Concerts. It's an eclectic little room.
Now, if someone's looking for a beer, that's not where you go get a beer, right?
You bring your own.
Right.
You can bring your own.
If they're wanting something to eat,
bring it.
Bring it. Right. Because this is about sitting down and listening to the players.
It really is. It's one of the few showcases in St. Louis where you're going to get to see some mostly local acts, mostly original acts, and it's just, I think it's one of the coolest venues in the city.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted you to bring it up for, because I hadn't heard of it when he came in and brought it up. And like I said, when we hear listening room, it really perks our ears up, because, there's no better audience than an audience that's there to see the performer and not just be part of the scene as the performer that's happening at while the Super Bowl's on or something here in the corner,
Right.
Which we've all done too. And
absolutely.
It pays the bills too, so that's fine. But
Joe's is $15 at the door. You have to get there right before 7, and they'll let everybody in. And the place, the decoration of the place is just unbelievable. They have things from the the Bolivar Strip from back when the Strip was really going over there. They've got the room is just so eclectic. It's an art museum just to be there. Pictures of Evelyn West on the wall.
So mainly blues in there and blues rock, or is it a variety?
It's variety. Variety. They'll use Ryan Koenig. He plays there often. Rum Dum Ramblers, the Rounders play there. One of my favorites, Beth Bombara, plays there.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. Yeah,
good stuff.
There you go, man. Always cool to talk about a little hideaway like that, because that sounds like a place that'd be really cool to.
It'd be a great first date place.
Oh, there you go.
Take your date there, and she never seen anything like this, I would think.
Right.
That's what she said.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't going to say what I was going to say.
It could be good or bad to hear that. Never seen anything like that. Well,
But I guess now every Sunday night and Wednesday night down at the 10 Pin with the Mondin Band, that's still going on.
Bands. Yep.
That's been a long time now.
Long time. I think they've been playing 15 years down there.
Yeah. So and everybody knows that around town, and
there's no place like Mike's.
No,
you can't explain it either.
If you haven't had your experience at Mike's 10 Pin on a Wednesday or Sunday night with the Mondin Band, then you haven't visited Alton.
Right. Absolutely.
For real.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and anybody who's been there and experienced will tell you the same thing, man. And if you're lucky enough to be down there a night that Mike throws somebody out of the bar, you'll really get
I just hope it's not me again.
Yeah, that's entertaining in itself. But don't mess with Mike. I'm just putting it out there right now.
No. Don't mess with Mike.
Well, Jay, appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for asking.
Been looking forward to having you since we started the program, and just hadn't been able to squeeze you in our schedule, especially when the word got out that we were supporting local musicians. You know how musicians are. They start giving you a ring because they understand how important it is to get promoted. So, I'm glad we finally got around to having you on the program.
One more thing I want to throw out before we close this. In addition to this, we talked about the album here. You've got a newer song on YouTube.
Oh well, no, it's not a newer one. I think
it's not a newer one.
No,
the Vietnam Vet.
The Vietnam Vet. That's a YouTube only release.
That's a YouTube only release. That's what I wanted to bring that up.
We put that out. I was working with a guy named Wes Wells. He's has so many lyrics, and which I have people give me lyrics all the time. Wes is just he writes right down to it, and I really like his writing. And he laid some lyrics to me about this Vietnam vet, and I worked with it for a little bit. I added a verse, I added the music, and it's on YouTube. You go to Vietnam Vet, thank you, and then in parentheses 111111. Because we released it on 11/11/11.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
That's the way that goes.
That's nice.
And I
really good song.
Thank you.
Good song.
Thank you. I hope to play it at the Wall someday.
All right.
Oh, nice. That would be awesome.
I would really like to.
So just search Vietnam Vet J.Christopher, right? And they should be able to find that on YouTube.
Be able to find it. It pops up pretty good.
Cool. Awesome.
Thanks. Well, thanks so much for coming down and hanging out with us tonight, man.
Appreciate it. It's been fun.
It's been a good time. It's been fun getting to know you. I always love getting to know new musicians, and hope to have you back again real soon and more laughs. Maybe you'll tell some of the stories that you told off air.
Hey, you get him down at the bar at Mike's. He'll tell you a few extra stories down there, right?
Right.
Kind of like Big George does, right?
There's on-air stories and there's off-air stories. Okay, I get it.
All right, it's been a blast, man. Thanks again for coming in.
All right, everybody. We'll be back with more Riverbend Talent right after this.
And now more
Riverbend Talent
with Dennis Laird and Pigpen on 94.3 FM, the Big Z.
Back with a little bit more Riverbend Talent here on the Big Z. I'm Dennis. Pigpen's with us. Right, Pigpen?
I'm here.
Cory Davenport with us as well. I want to quickly run through Sunday, and then we're going to shoot it to Cory here, and he's going to say whatever he wants. Isaiah Christian 2 to 6 at Wild Pickens. Hannah at 5 p.m. at the Back Bar in Edwardsville. The benefit I mentioned earlier is for Sherry Rowland's Tuttle. It starts at noon at the Lake House at Buffalo Park in Edwardsville. They'll have live music from a bunch of bands. Heartbreak Line, The Vault, Doc Holliday, Scott and Michelle, Wheels Rolling, and more. So get out and help those folks out. And then Rogers and Knee House, 3 p.m. at the Boathouse in St. Charles. Graham Band up at Aries Winery. And Grafton and Pat Liston doing the George Room in Carlinville all Sunday. And now our guest, Cory Davenport, who had a very interesting week. And
I've had a week.
Yeah.
It's been a time.
And we're wrapping it up by having a little fun.
Yeah. Let's not talk about my week. Well, if you want to hear about my week, I'm going to be talking about a lot of things tomorrow and live on the River Bend.
That's right. That's right.
Which you can find broadcasting live on Facebook. It's going to be a good time. I'm excited. It doesn't have FCC rules, so
what time does that broadcast?
I can't remember. It's either 7 or 8. I know I'm the worst. I didn't even know what time this was for a minute. I have free time now,
Right.
Free time.
You ever do the pub crawl in downtown Alton? That's going on.
The pub crawl or the pup crawl?
The downtown Alton pub crawl, pub and pop.
Okay.
Pop. Now you got me saying it.
I was going to say, because I thought it was the pup crawl or...
Pup? Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. No, that's when people bring their dogs.
Yeah, that's what
See, I don't have a dog, but do you know what the pup crawl is great for? Stealing people's dogs. I'm just kidding. I kid. But
I think they'll supply you with a dog if you don't have your own.
I don't know. Some says I'd be responsible for it afterwards. And
you don't get to give it back.
Right? I mean, I have a lot of free time, but I don't spend it wisely. So
a lot of day drinking.
Yeah. No. Weirdly enough, as much as I've talked about booze, I don't drink that much. I'm usually drinking teas and coffees. Like, I have an exquisite selection of teas. I have double bergamot Earl Grey for special occasions. I have elderberry tea. I even have cherry blossom cincha green tea. And I'm about that life. I am about that tea drinking life.
Yeah.
I've got a saucer full of secrets.
I like that. I go full Sid Barrett sometimes.
Yeah,
right,
so the pub crawl, that's this weekend. $10 for a bandana for your dog, right? And a passport. And then there's going to be like pet vendors and animal charities you can donate to, and it's going to take place at State Street Market.
I thought the thing was at Lovejoy's.
Well, it's a bunch of them. It's Bottle and Barrel, Solera, Bubby and Sissy's, Raging Cajun, the Brown Bag Bistro, Germania Brew Haus, Tony's 3rd Street, and Chez Marilyn's.
That's right. It's going to be a pretty good mix. One time I went to a dog event out at Glazebrook Park, and I forgot what it was called, but somebody brought their monkey. And that's not a euphemism.
I remember.
It was a real monkey, and it attacked a dog.
I remember that story.
Yeah. No, whenever I was 7 years old, so I went to Catholic school in Wood River, St. Bernard, and I don't remember the entire context of this, but you brought $20 to school one day, and these animal people would give you the chance to get your picture taken sitting on top of a camel or holding a monkey. Me, being rambunctious, of course I picked the monkey because that's the kind of life I wanted to live. I wanted to be the guy who picked monkey over camel. So I'm sitting there in the gym holding this little capuchin monkey in my lap, and I guess I smiled at it with teeth, and it did not like that. You show a monkey your teeth, it's game on. That monkey clawed at my face, ripped my collar, and tried to run out the gym doors. I think they caught it with a net. And the worst part of it is $20 is $20, so I had to again sit there and hold this monkey. And my mom, $20 is $20. You're gonna pay $20, you better get that picture with the monkey. So my mom, I think somewhere still has the Polaroid of me holding a monkey, looking terrified, like my neck's all back, and the monkey's looking at me like it's like, oh, you want it again? You want it again, little boy? I'll get you.
See, it would have been a picture of me holding a sedated monkey, because I would have put a tranquilizer in that thing before I posted it.
I was 7. I didn't have my own sedative, so I was at least 10.
Late bloomer.
It's Catholic school. But yeah, so that started my lifelong fear and fascination of monkeys. And, yeah, I'm still chasing Bigfoot.
How's that going?
Okay, so since I'm a freelancer now,
right,
I think one of the stories I'm going to write up is Bigfoot, because I'm an avid lover of cryptozoology.
Okay.
My personal favorite's Mothman.
Okay.
Shout out to Mothman. He's up in Chicago doing his thing. But yeah, no, there's lots of Mothman sightings in Chicago.
I haven't heard that.
No, I mean, he moved from Point Pleasant,
I was going to
Virginia.
say, yeah.
Yeah, no, so now it's up there. But so I've been reading all these Bigfoot sightings. They're all in Ohio, they're all in Pennsylvania, they're all in Oregon and Washington. Fun fact, I looked up the Bigfoot Field Research Organization. Illinois has an ungodly amount of Bigfoot sightings. And do you know what county in Illinois has more Bigfoot sightings than any others? Madison.
I knew it.
Followed by Macoupin.
Wow.
But Madison County, like, they have Bigfoot sightings in Highland, in Troy, and it's like,
I had some property in Macoupin, and I thought I saw one walk by out the back 40 one time.
Really?
I don't know what it was.
I think we're going to have to put together a search.
Yeah, I agree. And I have some places I want to look for Bigfoot.
Okay.
Or, as my uncle calls him, Momo.
I was going to say, that's what they call him in Missouri.
Yeah.
Right, but the fun fact about Momo is the monster attributed to Momo had reptilian footprints.
Oh.
Yeah, see, I know my cryptids.
Right.
I know my cryptids better than most. See, I used to this freelance gig for this Australian podcast called Mysterious Universe.
Right.
And I would just write about fringe science and dinosaurs all the time, also known as the best things in the whole world, like the nature of reality, simulation theory, dinosaurs. I mean, what could create dinosaurs but a video game?
Right.
Yeah, like we're living in some big arc.
All right, so let me hit you with this. If Yeti, Momo, and Bigfoot all was in a cage match, who's going to be standing in?
Yeti wins every time. He's a mountain man.
Yeah.
Like, of all of the hominids, Yeti is the best, followed by maybe Sasquatch.
Just surviving the cold.
Yeah.
Sasquatch or Saxsquatch?
Sasquatch.
Because I just saw Saxsquatch out at Trinity Riverfest last week playing the saxophone.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that Friday night? I was there Friday night, I think.
Last year he appeared for the first time on stage at Framley Fest in Effingham. He came out of the water and went up on stage and played a sax solo to a Pink Floyd song.
Came through the woods with nothing but damn near naked and played a sax. Just jumped on stage with a band he didn't know and played a sax solo.
That's Saxsquatch.
In the name of journalism, I must meet this man.
Huh?
Because
There's video of it. There's video of it.
Absolutely fascinating.
It is so fascinating.
naked guy with brass instruments. I mean, that's like my entire childhood. Besides the monkeys.
You did go to Catholic school. So he's got weird.
Oh wow!
I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just guessing. So, we should probably go to Clark Hour.
Yeah. About time. So we did our promise. We let Cory talk about whatever he wanted to talk about.
And it turned out to be Bigfoot and dinosaurs and simulation theory. And, we live in a video game. The object of the game is to just walk each other home. And, like Jesus said, whatever you do to the least of the people, you do that to him. But also yourself.
There you go.
Yeah. Treat people good.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming in, Cory, and we remind people, man, to get the scoop on the whole Lewis and Clark situation tomorrow live on the river. We're tossing them the bone because, like I said, it fits well with them.
Yeah, it does. I mean, because I allegedly I'm some sort of agent.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm just here. The one thing I'll tell you. I am my own agent. I am an agent of truth and chaos.
I love it.
And allegedly a cryptid is what I've heard.
I am also Bigfoot. No, really, there was a Bigfoot sighting right by my dad's old house, and it was one of those times I was out in the woods in my wilds, and I never wear shoes in the woods, and they talked about, like, they heard a big thing in the woods making noises, and I'm like, ooh, that could have been me. That might have been me. I might have been your Bigfoot.
All right, thanks once again to Cory Davenport for lightening things up with us here at the end of the week. Next week
and
we talk
J.Christopher.
J.Christopher, our guest, and our sponsors, Halpin Music and Mr. Matt Van Voorhis. And next week, Big George Brock Jr. and then GK Band, all right here on Riverbend Talent, which is Cory Davenport's favorite radio show.
It is, actually. I actually do try to catch it.
He said, "Yeah, I've caught it."
No. I've caught it about 7 times.
That's more than half a dozen. That's great.
All right, we'll talk to you next week, everybody.